another episode of Elevate and Illuminate, the Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Jamarcus Fields, founder and executive director of Iron Sharpens Iron WAST. This season, we've been diving deep into the realities of mental health and the different ways it shows up in our lives and our communities. Today, I'm joined by a powerful voice who knows firsthand what it means to overcome barriers and turn pain into purpose. She is trained in mental health first aid for both youth and adults, and she's the founder of an organization that helps people wipe the slate clean by getting their records expunged. Her story is one of resilience, advocacy, and love, and I know it's going to inspire and challenge us all. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My guest, thank you this evening for your willingness to share your story, to be transparent, to empower, illuminate, and uplift someone else. Go ahead, take a few seconds and kind of expound on who you are to the audience, and then we'll dive into this conversation.
Well, my name is Misty, and I'm a huge follower of Iron Sharpens Iron, big part of it. And I have been incarcerated, and I'm an advocate for reentry. I'm an advocate for change, and I don't know. I'm just blessed to be here and being able to have this platform.
Absolutely. Again, thank you everybody for being here. We like for this to be as interactive as possible. So the chat room will be open throughout the entirety of this episode. So feel free to ask any questions you may have, any comments or advice that you want to add to the conversation, put it in the chat, and we'll do our best to bring it into the conversation. So let's start. So, what led you, one, to become trained in mental health first aid, and how has that shaped the way you approach both your own life and the work you do today?
So originally, what actually led me to be trained in it was Iron Sharpens Iron because they invited me. But I also have my own personal experience with mental health when it comes to my daughter. So I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to learn it a different way than what I'd already known.
Mhm.
With her own mental issues, and they started before my incarceration, and then they just escalated um, through my incarceration. And then once I got home, there was a lot of struggle with that because
Gotcha.
one, I wasn't sure how to handle, and I wasn't speaking the language that I needed to speak.
Mm.
The training I got helped me a little short of when I needed it, but we're in a better place now because of it. So I can say that it helped me on a day-to-day basis with her now that she's almost into adulthood. I've been back, I've had her for 5 years. So when I tell you, when I come home, we struggled, and we struggled so much to the fact that I had a lot of time for backup time. And so when we would get into physical altercations, I really was scared to death I was going to go back to prison for my kid.
Right.
Um, so I use a lot of the verbiage, which I was not using correctly,
Hmm.
um, to better assist her in her breaks and better understand that what she's going through. I'm a little bit more understanding as opposed to when I was just fighting the battle of mental health.
Right. Yes.
And knowing that, I will say this: I'm definitely more in tune with the mentally challenged people on the street. Like I
Mhm.
used to just void myself of it and
Right.
just say the wrong language as we were taught. And now I just kind of watch and see if I need to intervene. Do I need to say something? Does do they just need to hear the words that I'm here? Um, so that's how I do more of the entwined day to day mental health part with mine. So yeah.
Absolutely. I definitely get it. Um, like when I took my training, um, it made me notice and acknowledge a lot of things within myself that I
Yes.
had been missing, overlooking, for whatever reasons. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So part of the push in me wanting individuals to get this training, and the reason we offer it and will continue to get it set up and offer it to individuals, is not only, most times you come into these trainings to be better equipped to help
Yes.
other people, until you get in there and realize, man,
You need
I got some challenges of my own
it.
that I'm dealing with. So it put me in this space where, like, I'm glad to have this knowledge and this information that came from the training, but like now I have to realize that I got some more fixing of me to do before I can try to fix others. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
I do.
and it's put a very heightened sense of mental health awareness on my radar. That's why
Mhm.
this whole season is dedicated to mental health awareness. Even in terms of the scope of iron sharpens iron and where we're going, we're becoming more of a voice and a presence in the mental health space because of that. We
Yes.
deal with a population of justice involved individuals with about 85 to 90% of the Iron Sharpens Iron team collectively having justice involvement. So, like, we have our own share of battles that need to be identified, worked on, rectified, situated before we can move out. So that's why the training becomes so important, to put us at a place where we're the healthiest version of ourselves to be able to assist somebody else.
Well, yeah, and your organization is to help. So if there's ones out there that aren't able to identify it themselves, you can and bring it to the light to not only get them healthy, but understand that you're there. You're not just there as a friend, but you're there as help for what they're afraid to ask for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
Absolutely. I see your daughter in the chat. She, she hollering up. That's my
I
mama.
see.
That's my mama. Stephanie said good stuff. Hey, Misty. Megan's chimed in. A1 clarity. Mental health is so important.
It is.
But nothing without help. Totally agree.
Yes.
Totally agree. Billy, with all the mental health issues that the world suffers from, this is so needed. Absolutely. Thank you.
It is. It is.
Megan.
Everybody needs to take these classes.
Yes, I agree. Definitely,
There's
wholeheartedly.
just not enough help out there in the world. And if you can educate every single person, whether they need it or they can just be a mentor for somebody, you need it.
Yes. So Megan said mental health is such an important topic as it can improve our overall quality of life. Facts.
Yes. Yes.
Facts, facts. You're right. Many times we don't know what to ask for when we are going through our own mental health issues.
We don't.
Absolutely. And
We
that's where
don't.
that awareness comes in, because you know, that was one of my things. I had been seeking, but again, asking all the wrong questions. So I never really got to the root of what was going on. So
So my own
yeah.
personal was I was labeled chronic suicidal before prison.
Hmm.
And I had attempted many times to take my life. And one time ended up in a hospital where I almost died. I had entrapped myself inside of a garage with my cars and just started the engine. Was it a wake up call? It was, but it didn't stop me from trying other ways. Um, but I will say, when I was being still inside prison, that woke me up to
Hmm.
watch the ones around me who were in worse shape than I ever thought about being. So I needed to figure out how to help them and get
Yeah.
off of me, because I was dealing with my own battles that needed to be understood through myself, and just feeling useless. I wasn't good enough. But my incarceration changed that completely. Like, my outlook on life is way different. Way different.
Yeah. I'm already knowing it's pretty humbling experience, huh?
It definitely is. It definitely is.
Wow. Oh
Definitely.
man. So, and I guess perfect segue because we kind of just touched on this a little bit, but can you share how your personal justice involved experience has shaped the way you approach both mental health and advocacy work? Because not just with the mental health component, but even within your organization and being an advocate and helping others accomplish things. What role did your justice involvement play in how you approach that?
So mentally, I mean, it broke me down. I'm not even gonna lie. I was in a numbing state. And I ain't gonna lie, when I was out on bond, if I probably could have found a gun and had the balls to do it, I probably would have. I knew what I was facing, and I was scared to death to face it.
Right.
But God stepped in and was like, "Oh, she's not going to find what she's looking for, so we're just going to handle it." And so when I got there, found out honesty is not always the great thing when you get incarcerated. Just saying. But I had told them that I was chronic suicidal, and so they had shipped me to a max prison because of that, because there was a mental health ward. And but I had never spoke of it like inside when I was in jail or anything like that. So when I got there, all I could think about was I wanted to go to a minimum prison. I wanted to be in the minimum because I didn't do that bad of a crime. So I
Hmm.
kept thinking, I've got to get out. Well, they won't let you out if you're on certain meds. I cold turkey stopped my meds. Um, when I tell you that hole was so dark and so deep, on top
Yeah.
of already being in that dark, deep hole,
Yeah.
um, self-help books. You'll if you ever hear my story, you'll hear me talk a lot about lessons in San Quentin. It was probably a 45-page book that I have 72 pages of notes on.
Wow.
Yeah. It brought me to a whole nother ball game of mental health and understanding. So when I read it and I did that, and then I seeked God. That's where I went. And
Amen.
when I found him is when my light started shining a little brighter. And I can say to this day, I don't take meds, and I don't have the notion of wanting to die. Um, I have the notion of wanting to live and share what I've been through. That's
Yeah.
that's where my light is. And thank God above, I don't have to do meds. Do I think sometimes I should? Maybe. But as long as I have my Bible and I have the people behind me that know who I am, it works itself out. So
Mm.
that's probably how I deal with that. As far as what was the other second question? What was the last part of it?
The advocacy work.
So, I mean, the advocacy work started before I ever got incarcerated. When my brother did 19 and a half years, I knew then there was change that needed to be done, and I knew I wanted change. So it started then. And then it just became more of a light shining thing when I got incarcerated. However, I will say this, I thought it was over with because I got a felony.
Right.
But then when I got out and I told my story and I saw it brightened a lot of lives, and I saw how things could change if I just spoke, um, I just started reaching out to
Mm.
this group, that group. whatever group I could get my hands in, and just kept pushing. So now it is my passion. Like, I know at some point I will be involved in something that is going to grow and make change inside the justice system, some way, somehow. And it doesn't matter my past.
Mm, right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Um, so Megan asked, when you talked about, doing the time and the impact that it had on you, would you say the isolation is what assisted you to focus on your mental health?
I definitely would. I didn't isolate myself enough out here.
Mm,
So when I tell you, it's one of my favorite verses is to be still. That's exactly what I needed to do, was
yeah.
be still and hear what is before me. I didn't hear anything before that. I just kept going, 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 thinking I had it, I had it, I had it, I had it. I've got this figured out. And I didn't. I didn't have it figured out. So when I say that, definitely the just being alone and learning me. I didn't know me. I didn't know me. I just knew the Misty that could do this, that, and the other, and that's what she did. And I didn't know Misty had so much more potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I started asking the class inside the prison probably about a year ago. And I just randomly asked the guy, he kept explaining some stuff that he was going through. And to me, I was like, that really ain't nothing. Like, you putting too much on that. Like, if your focus is getting out of here, then you're giving that too much weight because that doesn't align with what your goal is supposed to be, right? So I asked him, do you talk to yourself? And he
Right.
kind of he kind of looked at me like, no, who does that? I said, I do. I'm like, I do. I said, and I'm you probably not going to agree with me, but I'm getting ready to stand on what I'm saying. Prison will make you have a man in the mirror, woman in the mirror moment with yourself. And if you've already undergone your mental shift, you in that image in the mirror almost should disagree about everything. And if you're not standing your ground, telling yourself how wrong that is, how flawed we were in our thinking, I
Man.
told the class, if you haven't had that moment while incarcerated, you're not ready to go home.
Yep. Yep.
Because we're going back into, and we talked about it before we got on air, like when you're inside, you're begging, you're praying, you're pleading for these second chances. And then when you get them, like, I find too many people just complain about what you asked for. These are three people problems.
Man. I
It's,
just
it's,
had this
it's
conversation with somebody. I just had, because they were like, it was through messaging, and she's there for a long life. And she was like, it's easy. It's easy for you to say to pray and do this, that, and the other. And I said, no, it's not. Not out here. It was much easier for me to be in there and pray. I promise you that. I
yeah,
had more time. I read the Bible 15 times all the way through. I don't even know if I could get through it again unless I really diligently do it. I said, so don't sit and tell me how it's hard. You're actually in
right.
the easiest time to find you. The
Hmm.
easiest time.
The easiest.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah,
But you got to face that person in the mirror.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Stephanie asked, what are your next steps with your organization and your personal journey?
So next steps. I mean, I want my. I'm founder of Wipeout Records Expungement. So I want it to grow. It's something that's needed. Um, and I don't know how far I want it to grow. I just know I'd like for it to be my full time,
Mhm.
but you also have to stay up on the laws and things like that. And so, and you gotta have attorney in your corner, because sometimes there's that legal. I'm not allowed to talk legal, so sometimes you got to have that person, and finding that person is hard. I've got a few in my corner, but not all of them are going to be available at all the time or free.
Right.
So I'm running into a few barriers, but I'm getting over them. So I want to expand. I'd like to be bigger. So when I was in prison, I took the Ready program, and it was over a food truck. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'd almost like to have an expungement truck. And at
Mm.
least if I can't just to have, instead of an office per se, I'd like to sit outside a courthouse outside and be like, let's talk about what just happened. Get names, get information. Like, I've got a few ideas. So expansion is definitely in my future. Definitely. I just
Mm.
don't know how far. I will tell you this. Jerry's wanting me to go nationwide, and I'm like, I gotta learn all those laws. You don't understand. I don't know if I can go nationwide, but his mind is out there. So we'll see how that goes. And what was your
Mhm.
other question, Stephanie?
About and your personal journey.
Personal journey is just to be I just want joy, and I want everybody free of the system. Is it gonna happen? No. There's still many making mistakes, but and that's just human nature. But what
Mhm.
I really I just I want to be happy with everything that I'm doing, and I want to know that I've made a change because of my own journey.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of people out there that don't understand the justice system, and they just sweep it under the rug, or they just go with their own opinion because that's just what people do. And
Right.
I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the judgment when it's not your call to be my judge. And I'm tired of just everybody they're just bad people. Well, we're not bad people. We just
Right.
made bad mistakes.
Absolutely.
And I will say, I was a shoe shiner in prison. I spoke to a lot of staff on a daily basis.
Hmm.
Every one of them that sat in my chair, I promise you, always said, I just didn't get caught. We all make mistakes. Which some people get caught and some people don't.
Some people don't. Absolutely.
But
Hey,
we've
well,
all
what?
been in some kind of system.
Absolutely. So one thing I can say, I was already thinking this, but I see they've been going crazy in the chat, right? So, like, we definitely like the idea of dreaming big. And Billy just mentioned in the chat, how she likes Jerry's mind.
I know.
Um, I've I've known Jerry since we were
Yes.
teenagers.
Yeah.
Um, and I concur, Billy. I like his mind too. Um, so I already know, like, having gotten to know you and see your vision and your goal and your mission and what you're trying to do, y'all about to become a powerful union.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes.
And I'm excited for y'all. I'm excited to see where it's getting ready to go. Um, and I think, he is going to um blanket you in something that's going, he's going to support and push you in a way that when you say, well, can this go nationwide? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're gonna look up one day and you're gonna be
And he
nationwide.
already, it's so funny. I made the comment, oh my God, that means I would have to learn all of the laws and stay on top of it. He goes, I'll look them all up. I'll
Yeah.
get them all started for you. And I was like, okay. I
Yeah.
mean, okay. So yeah, you're right. This is, yeah, this is
Yeah.
probably
Uh,
going larger than I ever expected it to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Wipeout Records, let me ask first, how long have you been doing expungement work?
So, right out of incarceration. Okay, so let me give you a backstory. Before I ever got sentenced, my attorney had said I would probably possibly get work release as the worst,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, well, but I don't know what I'm doing because I'm not from this city, and I'm an hour and a half away. Will they let me work at my job that I have? He's like, no. I was like, well, I don't know anybody, so what am I going to do? I'll hire you. Okay.
Okay.
So that in my mind, I thought, okay, I'm going to work for an attorney. Went to prison, got out, called my old boss, and I called him. And I said, hey, I'm free. I'm in work release. Do you have a job for me? And he was like, I do. I'm working something out. I'll get back with you in 3 weeks. I got to figure it out. Okay. He called me 3 weeks later and he was like, can you come down for an interview? I said, I got to get that approved. I'll be down there. Went down. He said, I'm on the criminal side, but I want to start my own expungement side. I need somebody to run it. And I believe you're the gal for it. He was like, your title would be an expungement specialist. And I've already hired a retired attorney for any legal advocacy that you would need. And he also is going to help train you with the paperwork. He's going to show you the laws. He's going to teach you. He's going to step all the way through. He said, and I think by the time we're done with you, you will be able to set your own prices, go on your way, but always remember, you're not an attorney, so you can't give legal advice. Always keep that key. And I was like, okay.
Mm.
So that's how I begun. Was I was working for an attorney. I worked for him after my full-time job every night. I went in, called people, talked them into expungement, did all their paperwork, did all their research, um, just did everything I possibly could. Did paralegal work is what I did without the certification. Did all that plus a salesperson because I was trying to get them to buy and just paying him to do his expungement, and
Right.
did that for 3.5 years. The only reason that stopped is the retired attorney died instantly.
Mm.
And so John was like, well, it's not really bringing in the money I thought it was going to bring in. But do you remember our conversation at your interview? And I said, yeah. He said, I believe I told you at some point you're going to know enough to do your own prices, your own work. Here's my clients that haven't paid that probably can afford you. Start your business.
Wow.
And that's how I got started. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
how I began. Yeah. So blessed from the get-go.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So in in that work, and before I even go there, A1 Clarity in the chat said, let them know what you need of them. In terms of the work. You already know our motto. We are stronger together. As I'm looking at this chat, like you already got a village of people that are willing to step up, assist, and help carry you to where you're trying to go. So that in itself is amazing, and that should empower you.
Yes, it does. I
Definitely.
even I'm an advocate for last mile too. So
Yeah.
and they're the ones that created my website for free. So
Nice.
like they yeah. And he does all the back end work, like because I guess there's a back end to it. I don't know anything about it, but there's a back end to it. And so anytime I have any problems with mine, I reach out to him. He's over in California, and I reach out to him and he's like, okay, hold on, blah, 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 and he fixes it. I'm like, okay, what do I got to give you? He's like, nothing. remember, we're working together here. And I'm like, okay. And so at some point, I'm hoping to do his expungement over in California.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice, man. I didn't get to do the last mile, but I like that program. Um,
Yeah.
when I first heard about it, I was like, it's absolutely amazing. I didn't even hear about it while I was incarcerated. I met some people when I came home. I was part of this work group that they called the governor's panel, and there were some women on there that I met doing this work that had come home from incarceration, that had graduated the last mile, was still working the last mile, and so it made me go kind of look up what they were all about. And then as I was going into the prisons, I got to know the program a little bit more. So yeah, they're doing great and amazing things over there. I heard some of them have been shut down after
Yeah,
these last graduations, which is unfortunate. We don't need to be shutting them down. I think we actually need more of them.
we do. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
We do. And
Wow.
I'm an advocate all the way for it. I wasn't able to take it either when I was
Right.
incarcerated. According to that, well, I wasn't able to take any kind of time cuts or anything like that because we won't even get started on that. But
Mhm.
so I wasn't able to take it either. So I get it. I get it because that was one of the first ones I applied for, but they turned me down. So
Got you.
yeah.
So for people who don't know, um, how does in your opinion, how does having a criminal record weigh on someone mentally and emotionally, even years after serving their time?
Well, so this is how I have to look at that. Um, your record is a hindrance, right? So
Mhm.
mentally, it just keeps you from not knowing your value or your worth. Um, and as long as, like I just said, you've got them judges out here that think they can just do whatever and say whatever because of your past. And as long as
Right.
you got them keep poking at you, right? You got them constantly saying you did this. I'm not giving you this. You can't do that. You have to remember, rejections come your whole life. Um,
Yep.
you have to overcome the barriers, and there'll be a lot. But if you find that right person, and they're out there
Mhm.
to give you that second chance, ain't just about the law. There are people out there that will give you that second chance because there's somebody out there that does not know about the justice system. They only know what they've heard. So
Right.
when you're able to tell your testimony and tell your story, and they hear it from a perspective, and this is probably before they even know who you are because it doesn't say prison across your forehead.
Mhm.
Like when I walked into prison, people looked at me and said, "What are you here for?" When I see people today, they're like, "Did you just say you've been to prison?" Yeah, have. So you have to remember to keep that mindset and keep that understanding that you're not tattooed right here.
Right.
But you can use that testimony to change some minds so that your mental health can be better so that you're not challenged with those barriers.
Right.
And you should always get help because there is enough out there that you should be able to, if you can't get 10 steps forward, you can get one forward.
No
And I
doubt.
promise you that one will lead to more and more. And then you start branching out just like a tree. So when I say constantly just keep digging, but always remember there's help out there and there's so many more like us
Hmm.
who are there to help you get through it. So that would be my advice
Right.
is don't stop. You didn't stop trying to get out them doors. You should not stop trying to get back in a door. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we've kind of touched on, if you will, where I'm headed next. um, but you've been in and I'm going to give this number. If you want to
That's
correct me and expound on it, feel free to. But you've been in a 12-year committed relationship with someone incarcerated. We've already mentioned
yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Congratulations are in order as well.
Yes.
As he will be released in the morning.
Ah, yes.
I can just
Okay.
imagine how you feeling over there. I can imagine
Man.
how he's feeling right now. No,
Yeah, we
no
know.
sleep
We
tonight.
know.
Right, no sleep tonight. Um, so how has that journey tested? Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, be good. I love you. All right. So how has that journey tested and strengthened your mental health?
um, so it definitely has tested me many times. What we think we know is happening in there, even though we lived it, the men's side is, I'm going to say it, a zillion times different than the women's side. So when you're taking that call and there's a lot of quietness on the line, or just misunderstanding of what just ain't the same, vibe that you get on these other days. It challenges you. It challenges you because, is it me? Is he rethinking things? Am I giving off something bad? So when I say you just have to reevaluate things and know that you have to talk. You have
Mhm.
to communicate. And you still may never get that answer that you're looking for on that end. But I promise you, you'll get something
Yeah.
and it will make more clarity to you. And so we have a strong communication level. And when I say that, it's because you have to understand I have never physically touched this man.
Right.
That's rare in a relationship. Most times a relationship starts physical. And
Mhm.
so that's what makes mine better than most, because we already learned each other in a whole verbiage situation and fought many battles, because there's a lot of battles to fight DOC. They will try every angle they can not to have you talk, not to have you communicate, whatever. And so when I say that's mental itself in itself, because it is to me. I can't go a night without a call, and if I go a night without a call, I'm mean. I'm not a person you want to. I'm mean.
Right.
I'm not that I'm not. No, I need to know what's going on. Like what did you do today? Like I need to know. So but you also have to remember that you come first too.
Mm.
And so when him and I have our days, I will say a lot of it is relied on God. Um, that's when I will say, hey, before we get off the phone tonight, can we pray? Because I just feel like we both need it. We're just, both of us are going through something and we just need to figure it out.
Right.
So when I say that's how we've made it through, that's how we've made it through. God has always been our witness. And I will test to the day I die, the day I die. that God molded that man for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I met him 12 years ago, he was not my man. And that goes back to the story we just talked about.
Right.
He was not my man. And he wasn't going to be my man because that man said, I still got 18 years. And I was like, oh God, I don't think that's going to work for me. Like, I'm
Right.
good. I'm good on that notion. So I just kind of put up that wall and was like, yeah, okay, we'll talk. We'll keep talking. I'll communicate this, that, and the other. But as we talked and as we got to know each other and as we went through the stuff that we went through, is when it bonded us together enough. And I will say, God knew that we weren't ready 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we crossed paths for a reason, and it wasn't the devil's side that did it. And
Right.
so I do, and I will stay true to the day. God molded that man for me. He is my mental stability when it comes that I'm losing it. He's there. When he's losing it, I had mentioned on another broadcast of yours, somebody had I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he had said that when he speaks his wife's name, he calms down.
Yeah.
And Jerry also said that when he's having a day, if he can just sit on his bunk and just Misty, he calms down. I can do the same thing. Like if I can just sit and just call out his name and say, God, please have him call me. Have him call me. I promise you that phone rings within an hour. I don't know what it is we have with each other, but it is. And so it's there.
Mm-hmm.
So mentally, are we going to be challenged? Yep. Let's go back to counseling when he gets home. I then went through my suicidal thing. I felt like I didn't need counseling. I'm good. He mentioned, he was like, we need to do couples counseling. And I was like, you need to do counseling. I'm good. He's like, let's pray about it. We'll pray about it. So after I prayed and talked about it, he finally, I had decided that you're right. We do need it because we need that better communication too. Because it's going to change when you come home. There's going to be some
Right.
differences because you're in the physical sense. And so he had called me one night and he was like, so we've been praying about it for about 4 days now, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, and he goes, I'm not taking no for an answer. So if we're gonna be together, counseling it is when I get home. And I said, well, I'm glad you came across that because I already agreed in my mind. But hey, you didn't have to come and be like he's like, no, it's no for an answer. You were going. I was like, yeah, we're going. I got you. It's gonna be okay. So yeah.
Wow.
So we already know first stretch where we're headed.
Mm. Good stuff. Good stuff. So I definitely love hearing him being able to say your name and calm down and vice versa. To me, that lets me know that, you two have found your why.
Yeah.
Because in those moments, it's like everything that you know, I'm doing for the life that I see with Misty.
Yep.
So that's, when we talk about, you know, um, mental health, when we talk about trauma, um, you know, that's like an ink stain that never goes anywhere. No
Yep.
matter how much you try to scrub it, clean it, like you cannot get rid of this stain. This is either you throw it away or you just learn to deal with the stain, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it's about finding healthy ways to cope so that when you have these moments, you have a place that you can go to, be it getting by yourself and having a moment of prayer, just taking a moment and taking a few deep breaths just to kind of calm your heart from racing and your adrenaline from pumping. Um, But in those moments, when you found your why, you always remind yourself of why you do this. And so I love to hear that. Within that, is there, like, my question is, like, I want to know what role, like, love, commitment, healthy relationships play um in terms of maintaining balance and hope while incarcerated. And I know that piece, but, like, how would you say that what role that plays in, like, keeping a healthy balance? Because, like, being incarcerated, you've gone through your share of incarceration, even though, we know that women's incarceration, male incarceration is slightly different, like, but we're all dealing with the same type of stuff.
Yes.
The details may be different, but we're dealing with the same type of stuff. So what role do you feel like that plays? And I say that because, to sit and be in a long distance relationship with someone incarcerated, I know that has had to enter your mind. Like, I'm sure there's been times when you've been dealing with your own set of issues out here in the world, stressed out by something, and then Jerry calls, and the prison got him ready to pull his hair out. And just knowing you, I already knew you turned you down,
Yep.
if not completely off, to make sure he was okay and didn't crash out so he can come home to you. So I'm curious to know, in those moments, like, what kind of role does that play in maintaining the balance?
So you're right. I do. I'm then put on the back burner. However, let's change the role a little bit. There are times
Mhm,
I deal with my own mental, my child with the mental health.
mhm.
She is my everything, but man, there are days, boy, um, man, and he'll call, and I will just be blah 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 blah, 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 right, and he'll finally be like, "I didn't ask about all that. I asked how you were. What are you? How are we handling this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it. Too busy thinking about everything else. I didn't think about that."
Mhm.
So, you have to love the person that's incarcerated. Okay. And I say that because if you don't love them and you don't love them for who they are, you won't have that shutdown moment.
Right.
It's going to be all about you. And that person incarcerated ain't going to want to call and hear all about you because, again, you have moments in there. You have those breaking points in there. So
Mhm.
when it comes to love, I have to remember that I love him and I can confide in him. So even when I do feel alone, I'll get on my phone and I promise you, he has gotten a million notes, letters, whatever they call them things now. And he's called me the next day and been like, "What is happening?" I just had to get it all out. I just had to get it all out. Had to write it down. And I knew if you read it, you would piece it and figure it out.
Yeah.
And so he'd be like, "Yeah, so I read this part, and what does this mean?" Like, so you just, again, Jamarcus, it comes down to the communication, and that's why we're excellent at it because we've had to be.
Right.
Because I can text the person and they take it 9 times left, and I didn't mean it that way at all,
Right.
but that's how they took it. I could get on a phone call and be the meanest person. I know you can't see that, but I could be the meanest person ever. And they'd be like, "What happened to her? What's wrong with that girl? I don't even want to talk to her." But not mean it. But with me and him, we can do that and still overcome what's before us.
Right.
because we're both in a committed relationship, as
Mhm.
committed as it can be at this point. But so mentally, again, I'm not gonna justify it. We're our pillars. And there's times like when I took that class and I was telling him about some of the words that you use and
Yeah.
how I didn't think about it until it got brought to my attention. He was like, right. And we correct each other now. Like he'll be like, hey, that person back, and I'll be like, that's not what you call them. This they might be going through something. Have you asked them? Have you talked to them? He told me about a situation on the yard, where a guy come up to him and he was like, he was just off the wall. He was just not there, and this, that, and the other. And I said, did you ask him? Was he having a moment? Did you ask him that? And he
Right.
was like, I didn't at the time because I had my other guys around me, and they were just trying to protect. They were ready to, like you were on the bus. They were ready to fight mode, right?
Hmm.
And he was like, so when we got back to the dorm or whatever you guys call it, he said, I just kind of was like, hey, are you good? Like, do we need to talk? Did you need something out there? Were you trying to ask for help out there? Like, what can I assist you with now? So that's what we have.
Hmm.
We have that. And I'll be honest with you. He got a master's in psychology. So that man is already a psychologist. So he already can pinpoint, pull apart, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible sometimes.
Read you like a book.
Man. And I promise you, he's done it. Like I'll send things that I think are cute about my sign, and he'll be like, "Yeah, da 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 da," and a da 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 da, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't even like you right now." Like, stop pulling that out. He was like, I know you to a T. I've listened to every word you've spoken. I've read every letter you've written over and over again. And I'm like, oh, I just don't know about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but I'm gonna tell you something real. It's I'm gonna say it's crazy, but like it's really not because I understand why it is this way. But I often tell people that, being incarcerated, if you were present in your journey, meaning you're paying attention, you're being directed, you're being guided, you're invested, you're engaged in your reentry process. And when I say
Mhm.
reentry, I don't mean your last 2 years of getting ready to come home. I'm talking about those of us that realize we have an out date. And so we need to prepare ourselves for that date. That's what
Yes,
I mean by being invested in your reentry process, because reentry starts at RDC. It doesn't start
absolutely.
when you get to the end of your bit,
When you
right?
get there.
And a lot of
Yep.
guys want to sit down and wait until they levels drop, and then like okay, hey, I got to get serious about things now. Like you already behind,
Yes.
but
Yes.
in being totally invested, I tell individuals that those that are totally invested in their journey, we have doctorate degrees in people.
Yeah.
Like we're in an environment where you're surrounded by complete strangers for years, sometimes decades. And the one of the main thing while in there is your safety and security. You want
Yeah.
to make sure you make it to the finish line first.
Right.
So in
Right.
doing that, it becomes pivotal to know how to read people and to know how to read a room and know when today is just not a good day to go to rec. No matter how bad I want to work out, today is one of those days where something feels off and I need to go back to my cell. But we have such a doctorate degree in reading people, we read everybody but ourselves.
Yes.
We've been put
Man.
on mute. Our voice has been stripped from us. That's why sometimes, Like, we really don't care or mind sitting back on the phone letting you vent about everything that is going on with you, because we're not used to someone asking us for real how we doing.
Yes, agree.
So we haven't
Agree.
really dug deep inside to really know who we are. Like,
Mhm.
even when I came home after 26 years of incarceration, like, I didn't know who I was as an adult. I left society as a teenager, and then I became who and what I needed to become to survive in prison.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't even know who I was. So it's kind of hard to make informed decisions, make choices. Like, it's hard because I can tell you more about you than I can tell you about me.
And that's him. And that. So this is what excites me about being his partner coming home. I get to experience it,
Right.
and I'm excited to be his teacher because guess what? I've been where you've been, and I've seen both sides. I lived
Yes.
free for 40 years, went away for 3.5, and been out for 5. So when I tell you I've experienced it all, maybe not
Mhm.
to the degree of certain things, but experienced it all, I have.
Right.
So and I get to explain that, and it's just exciting to me because y'all need that. People need that because they don't know who else to turn to because one, you don't even trust people. Let's get there. You don't even trust people.
Yeah.
When I got home, I didn't trust a soul. A
Yeah.
soul.
I still wrestle with trust issues.
I do too. I do too. I'm very quiet. Yep, yep. I still have an issue with it, but it's just. But I know him, and I have a trust, so I know he's going to trust what I'm giving him. And if he questions it, he's not afraid to ask. He's gonna
Right.
be like, "Hold on, wait a minute. This don't feel right. What are we doing? How did we get here? What do we got to do? Like, what do we got to do different?"
Right.
So
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, this hour will be going pretty fast. So, with respect to everyone's time, what what message of hope, or empowerment do you want to leave? Would you want to leave with someone who is struggling with the weight of a record, the pain of incarceration, or the battle of mental health?
There's a couple things I want to, because I wrote a lot of this stuff down that I wanted to say. So don't ever forget my motto for my business. It's wipe out your past and embrace your future. I got to turn the light on because I'm getting dark.
Hmm.
Um, the hope that I want to instill in anybody and everybody, and that's anybody I touch on the street, that's people that are watching, that's everything, is rely on God. Rely on your higher power. He is there to save you, not forsake you.
Right.
And I guarantee you, even if it's a higher power, they are too. As for the weight of the record, I'll go back to I promise you, there is someone out there who doesn't understand the justice system, who met you as a person, not a prisoner, who is willing to give you that second chance. So always remember, prison is not tattooed on your head.
Hmm.
You go into it to the fun, loving person you are and let them see and understand that person. And then you seek whatever it is you need to get to your next spot.
Hmm.
Patience is key, and it's a virtue at the same time, but it is key. If you don't
Yes.
have patience and you don't allow things to happen the way they need to happen, you will fail. You will fail. What you also need to know is however many times you fail, you had to get up.
Yes.
You had to get up off that floor and you had to remember who you are and what you stand for. And if that means get into that word, and that means I have to know how I was raised and where I'm going and what dark place I don't want to be back in. You always remember that dark place. That hole I told you about when I was in there and I had gave up my meds. That day will stand in my that 2 weeks will stand in my mind forever.
Right.
Forever. That is not a place I want to be.
Mm.
And prison is not a disease. Your background is not a disease. We already have a recipe to be healed. You just have to take it.
Yeah.
You just have to take it. That's the hope that I hope somebody takes from here is you just have to want it enough and you have to work for it because it's not going to be given to you on a silver platter. And you have to remember that you shall always put God or your higher power first. So I wrote this down in spite of you. And the funny thing is, you touched on it and you weren't supposed to because I wanted to end my
Mm.
saying with this was you have to help yourself. But I once heard a wise man say, if you face yourself in that mirror and you allow yourself to see yourself, you're ready to face what's before you. So get ready to face yourself in that mirror.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. You came on here and drop the mic. I see you, Misty.
You know who I am. Have you figured out who I am
Oh man, okay.
yet?
Okay, man. I appreciate you so much. Your willingness to do this, your willingness to be transparent. Um, I thank you for your commitment, your work with Wipeout Records, doing the expungement, just being who you are in this space. I appreciate you for the connection that you've made and the support that you give Iron Sharpens Iron. I appreciate your involvement in the Just Family Network.
Yes.
Um, which is an amazing program that we have here at Iron Sharpens Iron for the families. Um, and I appreciate your involvement in that. You've kind of been one of the day ones that have been riding this thing out. Definitely hasn't gone unnoticed. Appreciate you. Um, and everybody that chimed in, tuned in tonight. Thank you for your time, for spending it with us. Hopefully, we elevated and illuminated and empowered you all some way, somehow in your life or to be of service or help to someone else. Um, Definitely, if you like tonight's episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This whole season is dedicated to mental health. So we are definitely enlightening and bringing awareness to mental health. Make sure y'all check out our website, Iron Sharpens Iron, WAST.org. And just kind of check out what all we have going on, the work that we do, get to know the team, our Iron Men, and different ways that you can assist and be part of the work that we do, be it as maybe a potential board member. We're always looking for iron men and iron women who have been incarcerated and are wanting to give back, share their stories, and meet people where they are. So yeah, definitely check out the website. We just spoke about the Just Family Network. You can hear and find out more about that and how to register and get signed up for it.
And
Um,
it's fun.
and again,
It's fun.
huh?
It's fun.
Yes, yes, it definitely is. It's empowering, but yet interactive. Allows you guys to have fun and create bonds and relationships with one another. So Misty started out as a friend, and her and Jerry are definitely family now. Um, and that's what it is. So again, thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Make sure y'all again check out the website for those who don't have nothing to do Saturday, might not mind doing a little traveling. We're having a community meet and greet in South Bend. All the information is on the website. Also, where you can register through Eventbrite. It is a free event. It is a community meet and greet slash Founders 50th celebration. We will be having a concert also. All previously justice involved individuals performing empowering music. So check out the website, get registered. Hope to see y'all Saturday. And if not, you can see what else we got going and stay tapped in with Iron Sharpens Iron. Again, Misty, thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Try to get you some sleep.
Right.
You got a pretty busy, heavy morning. I can't wait to see, bro. Um, yeah. So again, appreciate you. Good night, everybody. And again, thank y'all. Love is love.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. Good night.